See you.
Thanks, you too. William, how's it going?
Hey, Gene, what's up?
I'm good. Let me just answer a super chat real quick. Got 4.99 from Deshaun. He says, and thank you for the super chat. Hey, Jim, can you briefly explain what Scotism is and its role in Christianity? Well, I will try. But again, I'm trying not to do a ton of theology this month, just because I feel I've got a little burned out from it. But I'll try. So Scotism is a field of a school of philosophical / metaphysical thought in Roman Catholicism. It has literally nothing whatsoever to do with Orthodox Christianity and very, very little to do with Protestantism. It is a path of Catholicism you can take. So in Catholicism, you have the Scotist school, the Dominican school, the Franciscan school. All right. So Dominican is your average super Augustinian Thomist. And with Scotism, they're not anti-Augustinian, but they're going to be emphasizing much different parts of theology. I would consider the Scotist school to be halfway between the Franciscans and the Dominicans. So Dominican and Thomistic is pretty much the same thing. The Franciscans are obviously a lot more spiritual. They don't care that much about Aristotelian logic, and they don't sit around just quote mining Augustine and Aristotle. Whereas that would be a much more Dominican thing to do. If you want an example of who a Scotist is, you can watch Gideon Lazar. He's the Byzantine Scotist on YouTube. It's based on John Donne Scotus. That's who it's named after. Other than that, I don't know too much about it. But thanks. What do you say, William? What's up?
Yeah, so I guess given some of the topics, I heard some people were asking for advice with the opposite sex.
I love how this was a finance investment stream and now it's becoming the dating stream. But go ahead, it's fine.
Well, yes, I must say in regards to the finance, I started investing 2 years ago, and then I just got married, and the cushion I have is just so much. It's unbelievable. And obviously, I don't want to spend any of that money now, but it's just so nice knowing, okay, in the case of like a dire emergency or something, like it's there, and it's building more and more over time.
Definitely, like the image, the website I showed you guys, it's gonna build like the same. It's gonna be the same proportion, but the more you have, the faster the snowball effect begins, and the larger the snowball, aka the money, gets. And literally, the only thing you have to do is just not touch it, and it's free money. I don't understand how a lot of people don't get this. They just don't get it. They're like, I'm just gonna put my money in the bank or go on draftsportsbook.com. Like, invest your money, man. Now.
Yeah, I was trying to explain this to to one of my wife's uncles, and then he's like, "Nah, man, that's like a Ponzi scheme. Like they're just that's not real." And I'm
It's
like,
a Ponzi scheme.
right, like
Invest in
that.
the market.
He's like, you're just falling for the Wall Street Bill. What's his name?
We got
Bernie
you.
Madoff. Yeah.
Yeah, Bernie Madoff invented the S&P 500, and
Oh
in
yeah.
20 years, it's all going to be revealed. Anybody who ever did anything, you've been screwed by Bernie Madoff. One quick thing, just before we get too far away from the SCOTUS topic. Southern Israelites says Christians shroud their hatred of God's sovereignty by critiquing or criticizing Scotism. So, like I said, Scotism is closer to Dominican school theology, which is Augustinian. God's sovereignty is very high in Calvinist thought. So that basically just means that God is not really responsible. He's not accountable to anybody. But the point is, God has dominion over everything. Whereas there are some people who, I don't know, they just don't believe in that. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. I don't understand how anybody could think this is like a scam. I mean, back in the 80s, people were putting this in like T-notes, government bonds, right? So was that a scam
Yeah.
too? Everything's a scam now. It's like,
I mean, I think it also comes from the fact that I think if somebody is not good with money and they know they're not good with money, and then they see somebody who is either younger than them or they feel like is less qualified, get so far from so quicker than they have, I guess, it can make them mad, maybe, it's like jealousy, so then they kind of have to take it out in the wrong way.
well, a lot of it is, it's not easy to do. Like, it's simple, but it's not easy because you have to have enough disposable money that you have a
Yeah.
cushion. So you have your spending, then you have your cushion, so spending includes rent and stuff. Then you have your cushion. Then any money you don't need for that would be the long term. But not everybody has disposable money after their quote cushion to be able to do that. So to be honest, most guys in their 20s are not plowing tens of thousands of dollars into long term investing. To be honest, most adults in this country begin doing that and really contributing in the mid 30s. In fact, I think most people in this country make their prime earnings between like 37 and like 55. That's where you go from making whatever you were making to now making triple that. That's the big money. So if you're in your 20s and you're thinking, man, how am I ever going to do long-term investing? I've only put a couple of G's in there. It's going to take forever. It doesn't happen in your 20s. I happen to be in a
Yeah.
position
Yeah.
to be able to do that also because my dad grilled this into me when I was younger. So I had like kind of a running start, but most people don't, and that's fine. You can do that in your 30s.
Yeah, you and I with the Semitic DNA, we got the money, baby.
Got the money. Yeah, well, again, takes a lot of expertise to not muck it up. I've made grave financial errors in my life, not enough to like destroy me and cripple me, but enough where it's like, ah, man, I kind of delayed my own investments just because I was foolish when I was younger. But it's
Right,
fine
right.
now. Those are lessons learned. Better to learn them when you're 20 than when you're 50, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, like in regards to what you said about like I only have 2 grand in there. I only have that much. Oh, it's gonna take forever. That's true, but like even if you have to start with that, and then you put in like set a certain amount like every week on auto deposit. I have to put in this much, right? Like I started out with like $50 a week, and then I bumped it up to like at the height of the investments it was like $200 a week.
Yep.
um right. And so guys, like even the $50 a week every week, like that's literally $200 a month, right?
Yep.
And then
That's
in a
2 grand a
year.
year. So
Yeah, exactly.
and then the thing is, another thing is if you cannot do that, it's fine. Because
Sure.
eventually, well, it
Sure.
depends on the career you have. But eventually, again, in the mid 30s, when people start to make a little more money, you might, if you're in business, get a bonus. Well, how about instead of blowing that on some stupid car, you put that in your long term investing?
Yeah.
You know, I have a nice car. If I didn't have a nice car and I had a dumpier car, I'd probably still be fine. Not so dumpy that it costs more to keep it. But if I had an older car, I wouldn't. For me, that kind of stuff's not super important anymore.
Yeah, I'm really glad. Really never cared too much about cars. That's like an interest and a hobby that I've never understood. I could care less what car
I
I
like I
drive.
like old cars, dude. I old like Route 66, 50s, 40s, 60s style cars. That like the historical stuff's cool. Like people are like, dude, I got the brand new Maserati. I'm like, how's that better than the Maserati from 5 years ago? Like, it's like the iPhone. Like,
Well,
how women are so obsessed with getting the latest iPhone. I'm like, who cares? I don't care about this stuff that much.
yeah, like certainly I'll give credit where credit is due. Like there's certain types of like cars in different eras where I'm like, oh, that looks cool or something like that. But I
Sure.
don't need to have like a certain type of car. Like I got a Toyota Camry 2013 from my coworker like about 3 or 4 years ago, and I've had it ever since. It's great. It's still got so much gas in the tank. It's
Yep. Well,
yeah,
William, give me a second. I just want to answer some of the text chats here. Batman
sure.
Beyond says getting women and getting rich can be solved by doing the same thing, winning the lottery. Yeah, definitely for relationships. Some of it's just raw luck. Varun says, Gene, do you think Bitcoin's going to boom in the next few years? It dipped hard. How much lower can it go? I think overall, long term, it's there. Again, I would not put all of my money in Bitcoin, but let's say I have to put other than my long term investments, instead of putting 300 a month into long term investments, why don't I put 200? Instead, I'll put 100 into Bitcoin. That could be good. That way, you're leveling out the risk. You're not putting all of your expenditures into one thing. That's what I would say. Obviously, it would have been nice to get in on it a while ago, but whatever. Um, Now, if we take a look at this Illinois paycheck calculator, now this is Illinois, the shithole state. But if you're making 57,000 a year, your semi-monthly take home is what, guys? It's $1,876. So semi-monthly means about twice a month. Sometimes it comes slightly sooner than that, but anyway, it's about twice a month. So per month, you're going to be making what, like what is that, like 3,600 or something net? That's after the taxes and everything. So as you can see here, the orange and the yellow, it's a substantial chunk of your paycheck, and that doesn't include additional insurance and other stuff you're going to do. Let's say you're making 80 grand. Now, see, that's slightly better. It might just look like a few hundred more bucks, but it's actually almost 1,000 more per semi-monthly, which means it's almost 2,000 more per month. So with this option, you'd be making about 5G net per month. Now, most people, the highest thing they pay for is going to be what? Rent. So I've lived in very expensive places and can't go back in time and change that, but I would say it's not worth having a high rent. This is not worth it because the rent you're going to spend so much on, you'll have little else. So I would recommend don't live in a shithole, but I would not spend a lot on rent. And if you're my age, you should consider buying at some point. Not maybe not now. The interest rates aren't very good, especially in Chicago. But in the next year or two, you should think about perhaps buying, because renting is literally money you never get back. Whereas if you buy, even if you lose money on it, you get most of your money back.
Yeah. I mean, I decided to rent right now because this is the first time I'm living on my own. Um, and I just moved in with my wife because, yeah, the interest rates are high. The actual property values are like way too high. And I'm like, okay, I don't even know if I'm even going to be living in this area for the rest of my life. So,
Well, I would
I,
say don't be too tentative. Don't be like I can only buy it if I live here for the rest of my life. You know, you do want to
sure,
buy
because
stuff
you
even if
do
it's
want to
not
have
the final
property.
home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you just
Yeah.
want to sell it and get your money back. That's the most important part. So even if you only lived there for 3 years and you didn't fully pay it off, you'll get the full amount minus what you still owe, but at least you'll get some of your money back. It's not just throwing it away. So you're
Yeah.
fine for now, but eventually I would consider it.
Oh, well, yes, exactly. But yeah, I do have the one more thing I want to say, and then I gotta go because we're actually still moving furniture right now, and
I don't miss that. I don't
I
miss
can,
that.
I can still find time for the Gene stream.
There you go.
Um, yeah, because my wife is kind of nagging me right now, like, hey, we gotta set up the TV. But
It's over.
I guess,
Oh no, I hate setting up the TV. You better get on that, man.
yeah. So I guess, like I was saying, guys, like I'm here with my wife right now. Um, I guess like the best advice I could give you with dating is to literally just, if you like somebody, just ask them out. I literally asked my wife if she wanted to be my girlfriend the day I met her. So here we are now. Um, I have friends that like they always tell me like, hey man, like I found this girl and she's cool, and then I'm like, have you asked her out yet? And they're like, no, I gotta like take it slow. And I'm like, why?
I would agree with that. I would say ask her out, and if she rejects you, I would continue to be friends at that point, and then ask her out, be persistent. So I would say ask out immediately. But if it's a no, it doesn't mean give up. It just means that at least you got it out there that there's some kind of sexual dynamic. Because the friend zone stuff is real. Like if you don't establish the fact that you're interested in her, she actually might not know. Most guys are not that brave. So like she's not gonna know. So at least establish that. And if it doesn't work, it's like, oh well, at least you tried. And she'll at least have it in her mind that there is a potential there for you. So I would at least try that out. But yeah, like you literally have nothing to lose other than someone says the word no to you. So it's like, who
Yeah, I
cares?
mean, does that suck? Of course it does. But I mean, to not sound cliche, I mean, like there's always other fish in the sea, you know? Because I feel like when you have a crush on somebody, we tend to, and I think us guys here on the internet are all guilty of this at some point in our lives where we just kind of, we're infatuated with somebody and then we get way too obsessed and that we give them the halo effect. And even if you've been rejected multiple times, you're still like, nah, like one day it's gonna work, bro. Like at that point, dude, you got to take the glasses off and you got to see the the situation for what it really is.
And before you go, I'd say one more thing. I think
Right.
guys
Yeah.
need to be a little more confident in their worth as well. So I
Certainly.
think that men are the ones who go and get women, and that's no matter how much feminism they pump into the world, that's always going to be the case. However, the man himself is also a prize. You know, back in the day, women would literally measure the man by the prize. You know, is he handsome? What is his career? Is he a confident guy? Does
Right.
he come from a good family? There are selling points. You're not just a dude who's begging a woman, oh, please give me a chance. I have nothing going on in my life. You do want to have that confidence, say, like, hey, wait a minute, I want her, but there's a reason why she should want me. So that's an important thing. Don't put all your don't make it look so desperate, but definitely be decisive. So thanks, William. I
Yeah.
will let you go set up your TV now.
Yeah. I appreciate it, Jim.
Yep. All right. Good to have him here.